Hey guys, this is the start of a new haul here on the channel, and today we're going to be looking at everything I got in March. Sadly, it's actually not going to cover everything because there's a bunch of stuff that I've ordered that just isn't going to come in. One of them was a Boji figure that I ordered nearly at the beginning of the month, actually maybe even in February, I can't remember. And it said it was going to come in March, and then it said it was going to come April 3rd, and then now it says April 10th. But it was through Amazon, so I'm sure I'll eventually get it. It's just a matter of when, right? So, yeah, then I ordered something on Inside Trades recently because every couple, actually, I think at the end of each month, they re-upload or they update their manga sale page, and there was a bunch of new stuff that I wanted, so I got it. And so it won't be coming in until midway through next month. And I bought some books on Amazon, but I don't have Prime anymore. My parents got rid of it. And their account doesn't have Prime anymore, so I'm waiting for them to show up. But it is what it is. It's no big deal. I want to start with manga stuff that isn't actually manga. So let's start with a little bit of One Piece merch. So I have at least 2 of each of these, 3 in some cases, and I will be I put some in a poster, and I'll show you a picture of the poster now. But I wanted to show you these up close, right? So here's some vinyl stickers. I got these from Books A Million. There's one very near to my parents' house, and we went. And it seems like it's the same stuff that they gave at Kinokuniya, except for the standee. The Luffy standee was an exclusive for Kinokuniya members. And, well, I didn't really feel like paying $25 to be a member to a store that I rarely go to, right? If you look at the history of my hauls on my channel, I do end up going there more often than you would think based on what I said, but not nearly enough that it makes it worth paying $25 for membership, right? So it is what it is. Also, their discount for their membership isn't big enough. It's 10%, which is barely more than taxes, so there's really no point in it. So I didn't bother getting the standee, but I got all of these from Books A Million. I was literally the first person there that day because me and my parents wanted to go to breakfast during spring break. And so they were like, okay, well, let's just get up kind of early, go to Books A Million, and then go eat breakfast. And since my parents went with me, all of us got stuff, right? So me and my mom got a suite of all of the stuff, and my dad, for some reason, only got a poster. But, I mean, he has bad luck usually, so it is what it is. But, yeah, so here's some One Piece bookmarks. I think we got 3 of these, and my dad kept one of them. I can't remember. My parents do like One Piece. I showed them the live action show, and they enjoyed it, but they're not the type of people to go back and read the books or things that they watch, so it is what it is. And all of these are obviously promotional material. So there's like a cool image on one side and information on the other side. I own all of these, except for this one, actually. Here's the other one. This one's fun. There's a lot of food-related stuff going on. This one has a recipe from the Sanji cookbook, which I also own. I will eventually do a video for that. And yeah, so I have 2 of those each. Then I have 3 posters. 2 of them, this is my mom's, this is my dad's, and then the other one I put up is mine. So here it is. The poster's quite good, actually. So it's Luffy running, and then at the bottom, this is actually not that great. I don't like this like promotional material vibe to it because this feels like something a store should have, right? Not necessarily a fan. And so I can't say that it's great, but I don't hate it, which is why I set up the poster the way I did, where these 2 other images covered up this stuff. I think I set it up like this, where something like that. So like you see Luffy running, and then you see this stuff below. I think that's how I set it up, and I think it's much better that way. But it is what it is. Overall, free merch is free merch, and I'm quite happy about it. So that's it for that stuff. Let me get rid of it so that I don't lose any of this stuff. Now, the other thing that's manga related, but not actually manga, is this big book. So this is a history of modern manga from 1952 to 2022. Now, at this point, this is a bit outdated, but we got it here in the US in 2023. And the thing is it's actually from a French author and a French company. Let me see if I can find out who it is. And so this is from the perspective of French people, right? And so it doesn't actually have certain mangaka that I think would be a bit more interesting and important to Americans, or maybe just in general to like the Western audience as it pertains to the Americas, right? So yeah, this is an English edition. Let's see. It said who made it, but I can't remember what page it is on, right? But yeah, here's an illustration. Here's the content if you want to look at it. Naoki Takeuchi, Clamp, Ichiro Oda, Naoki Urasawa, Boichi's there as well, which is quite nice. Over here we have Go Nagai, Fuiko Fuji, Monkey Punch, Iki Kajiwara, Shotaro Shinomori, which is good. But the thing is, you know, they did all of this, and they didn't include the guy that did Saint Seiya, Masami Kurumada. Now, in general, that's not necessarily an issue, but if they added Clamp, they should have added Kurumada, because if I remember correctly, Clamp only became possible or became a group of mangaka because they started their careers as yaoi artists creating doujinshi of Saint Seiya, right? And so I think that it's important to also mention, you know, that. But maybe Clamp actually has a bit of stuff there, right? So yeah, also there's like a tip to reading this. It says here, if you read it on one side, you get the history of what's happening in Japan that leads to these changes in manga. And if you read it on the other side, you just get to meet each of these mangaka, right? And so it's kind of an interesting concept. Some mangaka get more than one page, but most of them just get one. Here's some art included with the book. 71 years, 71 mangaka. And yeah, so this is kind of what it looks like, right? So there's the year. And then on this side, it's the mangaka that they associate with that year. And so it gives you a bunch of information about a bunch of different stuff, right? So the historical section is about stuff about manga and about Japan. And then this stuff is purely about the creator, right? So it's pretty cool, actually. It's a pretty interesting kind of, I would call it a textbook, right? About the history of manga. It might be an interesting kind of concept to look at if you're interested in stuff like that. I remember a few years ago, someone that was also a YouTuber that I don't think does YouTube anymore asked me a few years ago, hey, do you really know the history of manga? Because they were trying to make a video about it. And I was like, well, I don't really know the history of manga, but I kind of have these general ideas, right? And so we kind of collaborated on that a little bit, and then it just never went anywhere. But now that we have this, I think that it's quite cool to have like a proper resource about manga, right? So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. But let me know what you guys think about it. So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool thing. You can get it on Walmart for $20. If you can get it at Target for $25, but the actual going price is $40, which is still pretty cheap for a textbook. But you know, it kind of depends on what you think about it, right? So yeah, moving on, we have manga now. So we have Battle Angel Alita. This is the deluxe edition. I got this for $15 because I found it at my local. Let me lower this a little bit so it's easier. At my local Half Price Books. Actually, well, it's not my local one, but it's one near me. It's actually the main one here in Dallas, the headquarters of Half Price Books, but it's not the original because the original got torn down, and they moved to the one that I'm talking about now. But it's a huge place. They have a bunch of comics and manga and a bunch of everything, honestly, and it's quite cool. And I initially went there to buy comic books, to buy a bunch of collected editions of comics, but I saw that there was like a bunch of cool, interesting manga, and so I decided to go for the manga instead, right? So it is what it is, but yeah, I really couldn't pass up this opportunity because I never see these used, and I never see them for less than $20, so it was a good time to buy them. Here's Bright Story number 7. This is from Kinikiniya. The one that's, I wouldn't say local, but closer to my house in Houston, which is the same one that Omnibus Collector went to when he went to get his copy of the Kinikiniya exclusive Initial D. I think he mentioned it was the one in Katy, which is true. There's a big Chinatown kind of area there that has a Kinikiniya and a golf course and a giant H Mart and a bunch of cool stuff. So yeah, but this one is also from Half Price Books. Again, $15 for it. There is some damage to this one. This one has some issues on the spine here. It's quite noticeable when you put it up against another of these books, but overall it's pretty minimal, and I'm very happy about that. Gundam The Origin #2. We have Sebukui Bisco. This is from a used bookstore near my parents' house, and I'm excited about this. I think it's cool. I love the artwork here. I think it's very great. I'm not really sure what this story is about. I think it involves mushrooms at some point. Rust wind phenomenon swept across Japan like a plague, choking out life with iron sand. No one knows how the rust began, but one mushroom-wielding renegade known as Bisco Akaboshi, the man-eating redcap, is determined to bring about its end. He's the last in the long line of mushroom keepers, and alongside a young doctor, the two will brave horrors and wonders in the Iron Desert in search of the Rust Eater, a mythical mushroom rumored to have the ability to cure an ailment at once. So you could almost call this like a Western type story, and I hope that other people agree with me because I want to read it for June on the Range. And June on the Range is a special booktube event by Michael K. Vaughan where you basically read Western stories. However, I don't want to read like 20 Westerns in 1 month. So I decided to kind of fit it better to my channel and do Western type stories, right? So frontier stories or stories set in deserts or in kind of like rough situations like that. And I think that this is quite a good one to kind of, use as that. The other one would be Golden Kamuy, because Golden Kamuy is essentially a frontier story, right? It's the Japanese equivalent of a Western because it has a plot line about a gold rush. It has fighting against bears and natural creatures. It has native people of the region. I mean, I was going to say Native Americans, but, the Ainu aren't Native Americans. They're Native Japanese. And so it fundamentally fits the concept, right? So I thought it was a good idea. Here's Char's counterattack. Beltiorca's Children. This is a new Gundam story. I think it's related to The Origin. #1 by Nempa. This is the first Nempa book I get. The spine is a bit tight. The material is wonderful. French flaps, very cool. And the color pages are great, but it is quite stiff, and I don't know if you guys can notice, there's a bit of a crease across the middle of this book here. That is due to the stiffness of the spine. Finally, Boys Abyss, book 4. I'm still mad that these don't have any color pages at all because these images are beautiful and they would be better in color, right? But that's the gripe I have with this all the time. Moving on to the other manga that I have. You have Boichi's version of Ace's story. So this has a little pull-out poster. Honestly, since this came out the same time that One Piece Month was being celebrated by bookstores, they should have made one of these a poster. But I just don't think that the people that are in charge of this really think about stuff like that. So, yeah. Honestly, the Ace light novel story is not very good. It's, passing at best, quite boring at worst. But the art style is wonderful. Like, this is not necessarily Boichi's best art style. This is very in line with Dr. Stone, right? But you can kind of see some of Boichi's more serious art style here. The stuff that you can see in Sunken Rock or Origin or Wallman, right? Like this, like really awesome, huge, like hyper detailed type story, type art style in some of these awesome panels, right? So yeah, I recommend you guys check it out just for the artwork. I think a lot of people don't like Boichi just because of his like insistence on super hot chicks, but don't let that deter you because his artwork is phenomenal. I mean, he does have some issues, right? There's certain poses that he's just never good at doing, but it is what it is. This is Jogeki no Sanji. This is Food Wars Sanji or something. This is another One Piece side story. This one is supposed to be a volume 1. Like, there might be more of these, but I don't think that they're that there will be at any point soon, right? So yeah, but this is kind of a collaboration between the guys that did Food Wars and Oda, right? So yeah, again, the artwork is pretty fun here. It's nice to have these kind of ridiculous reactions. Oh shit, I almost fucking ruined this book. That was rough. That was rough. Here's I Want a Gal Gamer to Praise Me, book 1. This is actually disappointing as far as I understand it. I have not read the story. I'm sure that the story is good, but this was supposed to have spot coloring where his hair color would be blue and hers would be pink. And well, as you guys can see, there's none whatsoever. There's no coloring here at all, except for the front color page, which the front color page is quite nice. I actually like this. But the Empress is well known to do this type of spot coloring stuff on some of their books, and the fact that they didn't bother with this one is kind of annoying. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. There's a lot of blank pages in this book, and I'm not really sure why that is. I guess odd number of pages for chapters makes it so you have to add more blank pages like that, but I don't know. They kind of like it kind of makes the book feel kind of weird. Here's Spy Family number 11. I need to get back to reading this. I think I will be doing that soon. I don't know why that's upside down. I don't know if that's actually supposed to be like the proper image, or when they fucked with the image to make it in English, they messed it up. I don't know. But yeah, I need to get back to the series because well, I really enjoyed what I've read of it, but I've just fallen behind. I have all of the books that are out so far, but I just haven't gone around to reading it, which is my fault. I will probably do that this month, though, in April. Here's Marry a Billionaire, number 7. This is the last book in the series. I don't really want to flip through it much, but, I mean, you can kind of get a feel of what the artwork is like here. It's quite good. And I was supposed to read that this month, but I didn't actually get around to doing it. However, I do still have, like, 2 days left. I have the rest of today and tomorrow. Although tomorrow I'm going to be quite busy. So I probably will get through about half of the volumes associated with the story. And hopefully I'll be able to finish it up in April so I can do a review for it, right? So there you go. That's Marry a Billionaire. Here's Tengen Hero Wars. This is another Record of Ragnarok type story by Kaburo Sakanoichi and Yasu Hiramoto. It's a Titan manga book, so hopefully it doesn't have machine translation. But there are some problems with it. First of all, I don't like this. This is quite tacky. And if you're going to waste money making color pages, make these the color pages, right? Not this crap. These stupid ads in color that I don't like. But I don't know. This is supposed to be a Record of Ragnarok type story. The spine is quite tight. It actually kind of scares me to open it widely. But it is what it is. Here's the second book. It comes out like in 2 weeks compared to this one, which was technically I think it was out since January, but the official release date was like 2 weeks ago, or like somewhere in the middle of March. So that's when I bought it. But the next volume comes out quite soon, so I don't know. But it's a very thin volume. It's $13. And well, I don't really like the quality here all that much, but maybe I'm just looking for reasons to shit on Titan manga. I'm not really sure, which sucks because I don't like Titan manga, but I really love Titan comics, which are the same company just with like slightly different kind of things, right? So Titan Comics does Gun Honey and Conan and Hard Case Crime stuff, and I love them. Like all of their stuff for that feels amazing and wonderful. And great, but all of their manga always feels so weird, like cheap, but not cheap, but also like not what you would expect, and it's really odd. So I don't know. And finally, here's Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You. This is the last book in the haul, or the last manga in this haul, although I have quite a few more books, right? So yeah, I bought this partially as a joke because this guy reminds me of my roommate, and the joke was that I bought this so he could read it, because other people that are friends with him have joked about this, but also just because I was interested in it, right? So, yeah, the art style looks fun here. Not exactly what I was expecting based on this image, but quite enjoyable either way. And I needed a new kind of like rom-com-esque type situation, right? So, yeah, there you go. That's it for the manga. well, I mean, that's it for the physical manga. We actually have digital manga as well, so let me pull that up. There was a Humble Bundle from Ablaze this month, and I bought it. And, well, most of these aren't actually manga, but they're at least Asian comics, or mostly Asian comics. So we have Trece, which is Filipino. The Filipino comic book. There's 6 of them so far. There's a anime on Netflix about it. I don't know who Zero Call Care is, but that looks fun. Kagaster is definitely a manga. Cooler Than Dead, I think it's a video game adaptation, although I think that's a manhwa as well. Ganamo, but it's not the full volume, which is annoying. It's only like a few pages of the volume, or like a little bit of the volume, like a third of it, which is annoying. I don't like that. And this was actually, like, thinking about it, I don't necessarily know that this is a great Humble Bundle, because it was for anime lovers, which you would think means manga, but it doesn't necessarily mean manga, right? So, I don't know. Zombie Maycap Club, books 1 and 2, Centaur, number 1, Idun Chronicles, which is, Idun Chronicles are a Spanish YA fantasy series. There was there's an animated version of this that was available on Netflix. I have not watched it, but I've heard good things about the series. And so there was a comic book, and so the comic book also made it to the US thanks to Ablaze. Knights of the Zodiac, but only the first 3 issues. Virtual Hero, I don't know about that one. Wakfu. Wakfu is a French series. The anime is quite popular with a lot of people, and it's available on Netflix as well. And I think it's cool that they made a manga of it. I actually tried checking the series out when I was trying to study French. I watched it in French, and it was quite bad. Like, it was very difficult for me. So I never bothered to come back to it, but I might just watch it in English. So, yeah. Or in French with English subtitles. I was trying to read the French subtitles, and it was quite bad, because I think the French subtitles were in French from France, and the show was speaking Quebecois French, they're not the same. So it was quite difficult. Captain Harlock, numbers 1 through 6. This is the French comic book that kind of deals with the series. And so, most of these aren't really manga, but they are manga adjacent, which is, good enough, I would say. So, yeah, there you go. That's the manga stuff for this month. Okay, so let's move on to comic books. So here's the first comic book I bought this month. It's a Super Core, Superman Volume 1 of the Dawn of DC books by Joshua Williamson with art by Jamal Campbell. This is the second cover. This was available at Target, and I wasn't planning on buying it because I don't like this cover as much as the normal one, but it was $14, which is a significant difference in price from the actual $25 that it's supposed to be worth. And I think it was a clerical issue, but I took advantage of it as best as I could because, I think it was a good deal, right? So, but this book is quite good. I enjoyed it. I've previously read some of these issues, not all of them, and I recommend them. I think they're quite enjoyable. I think Joshua Williamson does a great job at this, right? He does videos with Sal from Comic Pop, if you're interested. However, this doesn't have the standard, like, glossy paper. This has, like, a textured kind of matte paper, and I'm not sure if I like it better or not. Like, it looks nice, but it's not what I expect when I open a comic book, and so it's kind of odd to really decide what I feel about it. Also, this is quite light for a book, and the weight of objects kind of connects with your thought about their value, right? And so sometimes, even though it's a good book, it feels like it's not like worth the money because it's so light, right? So yeah, here's Telos Colossal Volume 1. This is one of these old Image fantasy series, and I got it because I thought the art style was cool, and I'd never heard about it before, right? So this is kind of similar to Battle Chasers, in my opinion, although the concept is quite different as far as I understand it. But I don't know. I thought it'd be interesting to read it. So yeah, also it was quite cheap. It was like $7 at my half-price bookstore, so I couldn't really pass it up. But yeah, it says, the legend Telos is a magical patchwork world made up of myriad of different realms, populated by creatures of myth and legend, a fantastic land filled with adventure, around corner and danger at every turn. that's kind of oddly written, but whatever. Journey into the world more wondrous than any you have ever imagined. Collects the first 10 issues, which is actually all of the issues that there are, as far as I understand it. There's like a second book of this that covers like other like stuff that was not from the main storyline. But it's pretty unlikely that I'll ever get my hands on it. So yeah, but look at this. It's pretty cool. So yeah, we'll see how I feel about that later. And then this is kind of the best thing that I purchased this month, I think, in terms of like comics. The Lost Adventures of Tarzan by Dark Horse is actually a novel that Dark Horse published in this weird comic book format. And it has some comics here in the back. These are like newspaper strips. And they're pretty cool. So I got these on eBay. I got them for $1, and I had to pay $7 shipping. But $1 for the whole series is quite good. And even with the $7 shipping, it's $8, so $2 per. That's pretty great. So there's 4 books here. The Lost Adventures, the last Edgar Rice Burroughs novel that that was written for Tarzan, and it was never finished. So eventually someone did finish it, Joe R. Lansdale, and Dark Horse published it, right? And I think this is the old style of comic books. It's a really odd size. It's quite small compared to modern comic books, but I like it, so I will eventually read it at some point. And for the price that I got them, I'm very happy with them. There really aren't any, scars or problems with it at all. So yeah, now let's look at my pile of single issue comic books here. So I have Ultimate Spider-Man #3, and I've not had a chance to read them. I actually had to wait until the end of the month to get all of these books because I was too busy. Here's Green Arrow #10. I'm very excited about this because this reminds me a lot of the Arrow TV show, and I'm looking forward to that. Dead Lucky #12. This is the last book in the series for now. I think it goes on hiatus for a while, and then it's going to come back. Here's Wonder Woman #7. This is a break issue. This is drawn by Gilliam March, who does pretty good work. I like his art style. But maybe it doesn't really fit superhero comics, in my opinion. I don't know. And this is supposed to be like a little side story about what they get for Batman for his birthday or something. I don't know. It's weird, but it's just a break issue. Here's Rebel Moon #3. I'm almost done with collecting the series, so hopefully I'll do a review for it soon. Here's Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong #6. This cover is cool. That's very awesome. I love that. I think is very nice. Here's Transformers #6. This is the last book that's completely, Daniel Warren Johnson exclusive. After this, I think Jorge Corona is going to take over, so that's exciting because I like his artwork a lot. He did great work with Scotty Young, if I remember correctly. Here's Thundercats #2. I love the Dynamite does this, hard card stock for their books. It's quite nice. There's supposed to be a new character introduced this book, if I remember correctly. Name's Calico, I think. Yeah, there you go. No One to Braid. These are taking longer than usual to come out, but also I'm quite happy that they're almost over because I'm not really liking that story too much. Here's Helen of Windhorn. This is something I'm very excited about. It's supposed to be a sword and sorcery book with a gothic novel kind of feel to the main story as well. So it's supposed to be quite exciting, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Also, the artwork looks so beautiful. Like, look at that. That is amazing. So yeah, it's very weird. It's very odd art, but I love how it looks. Look at that. That's so freaking awesome, right? So I'm very excited about this. Then we have Blue Beetle #7. This is the only one I read this month, and that's because I found it online because I couldn't wait to figure out what was going on. And I really like this because even though I haven't really read all of the Blue Beetle stuff, I know what most of it looks like. And so throughout all of these little jumps that Jaime is doing across time, he's actually going through all of these different art styles. And I think that that's great. I really love that. I think it's a very nice concept. Here's a Miss Minutes kind of looking character as well. And basically the issue is continuity is all fucked. And Jaime needs Ted Kord's help, right? So they're looking for Ted. And then they find him, but things happen. So we go back into the main story, right? So Yeah, there's this is free Marvel must-have. This is a new weird like free comic book initiative thing that they did, where they like make these big Shonen Jump kind of things where it has 3 stories. So it has Spider-Man, Deadpool, and then Miss Marvel, the New Mutant, and Immortal Thor. And I think this is supposed to get you to become interested enough in this to buy them. I don't think I will be, but I quite like the art style that is being shown in these 3 books. So at the very least, it got me to remember that these characters exist and that, you know, I should buy some stuff from Marvel. But I had to get my comic book store to get me that in my box because it was kind of out of nowhere. They just kind of dropped it, and I found out about it. So I had to text them immediately like, hey guys, can you guys get me one of these? And thankfully they were able to, so that's nice. Here's Magma Comics Preview. I don't know what this is supposed to be. It's a new company that's trying to become more relevant, I guess. And I have these little showcases for things, right? So this is the Necromancy one. This is pretty cool artwork. Silicon Bandits doesn't really appeal to me, but I think this scale one might. But I didn't bother checking on it. But it looks cool. It reminds me of Temeraire. I don't know why. Something about this reminds me of Naomi Novik's Temeraire. Just kind of like the different dragons and their sizes and the fact that they're kind of, it seems like they're sentient in some way. So, yeah, I don't know. That's it for physical comic books. I do have some digital ones that I want to mention here because there was another Humble Bundle, and this one was the Spawn one. And I actually bought that this morning because it was the last few minutes of the bundle. I probably shouldn't have bought it, but whatever, it's fine. I'm not a huge Spawn fan, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity to have so much of Spawn for so cheap, because I do want to get into the series, but it's just hard to, because it's just like I don't know, something about it is always weird. But yeah, here's Spawn Origins. It has 1 through 27, Sam and Twitch, Medieval Spawn and Witchblade, The Scorched, which is one of the new team up books that they have, Gunslinger Spawn 1, 2, and 3, King Spawn 1 through 4. I mentioned Gunslinger already. I did, right? Spawn Kills Everything, and there was all of the medieval stories as well. A bunch of Sam and Twitch stuff. It was like 43 different books. For $20, that's pretty good, right? It's like less than $1 per book, and that's pretty worth it. So, yeah, there you go. That's really all there is to that. Maybe there were some comic books. I can't remember. Oh, well, I guess I missed some manga as well. Yeah, there you go. I already own these in a different format on Bookwalker, so I didn't bother mentioning them. But yeah, there you go. Oh, you know what else? Barbaric, Born in Blood, issue 1, came out on Zoop, which is a crowd building campaign type thing, and you can get it for free, the first issue for free, just by signing up to the Zoop. There's still 6 days left. And you get the issue. It gives you like a little explainer about, you know, the story so far. And I recommend it because it's great. Look at it. It's so awesome. So, yeah, that's it for the comic books. Okay, we're, nearly done here. So here's the first book I got. This is Economics, Everything You Need to Know in One Book. And, this isn't really something that I would really talk about on the channel, but I just thought I'd mention it because I got it so cheap, and it's actually quite enjoyable to read. It has these cute little things all over the place, and it's quite interesting, just in concept, right? Not necessarily in execution, maybe, or maybe it's fun in execution, but not necessarily in concept. But I thought it was cool, so I wanted to mention it. Then we have probably what I think is the best book I got this month. Actually, that's not true. Never mind. Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, which is a amazing cookbook by Samin Nosrat. And again, this has really great images as part of the book. This basically shows you everything about cooking, why you want to cook with certain things, why you want to flavor things a certain way. And this is quite good stuff. I mean, I think I might know most of this stuff already just from my interest in cooking in general, but I think that it's a great textbook. And also, to me specifically, it's enjoyable because this will help me kind of understand certain like foodie manga that I like quite a bit more than usual, right? Because in Delicious in Dungeon specifically, they talk about these elements as well, right? So there's a certain kind of like connection that this has to my manga reading hobby, but also just my hobby of cooking in general, right? And I kind of hesitate to call cooking a hobby because everyone has to do it at some point, right? But I find enjoyment and satisfaction in cooking well. And so I needed a textbook. I thought that was a good one. And it's great that it also kind of aligns with some of my other interests, right? So yeah, and then because I like self-help books, I bought this one. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but it was like $3, so just no point in not getting it. And then finally, some novels here. So I got Carl Edgar Wagner's Kane. This is Dark Crusade, which I think is the third book in the series. And this is a very cool, kind of like grimdark version of Conan, if you want to call it that. This is another one of these great sword and sorcery writers, although this guy is from later on in the genre's history than, you know, Conan. However, this guy is not. This kind of came out at the same time. The concept of sword and sorcery or heroic fantasy kind of comes from Fritz Leiber. He was a European Renaissance man. He did writing for a while, and he did the Fafford and Grey Mouser series. And this is the first book in that series. And I actually caught this for quite a good deal, as you guys can see right there, $5 for basically nearly perfect condition book, put in a bag. I'm not going to, unbag it until I actually end up reading it. But there was 2 other books in this series that I wanted, but they weren't like sequentially in order, so I didn't bother getting them. Hopefully they're still there in 6 months when I go visit the store again. But I'm not very excited about this because I've been looking for this book for a long time. And the only opportunity I had to buy them was usually on Amazon, where I had to buy the Library of Europe editions or whatever, like the English editions of it. I can't remember what they're called. They're like sci-fi classics or something. They're these really like ugly looking, like rainbow colored books that are, you know, for Fritz Leiber, for Ray Bradbury, for C.L. Moore, for these kind of like classic science fiction fantasy authors, but they just never looked good to me, and I didn't want to buy them. So I'm very happy that I found that. So that's it for the physical books. I do have some digitals, quite a few actually. So let's see, how far back do I have to go? Okay, so if I remember correctly, last time we left off on Cradle, Path of Gold, which is something I'll probably be reading here soon. So Alex Kahn, Mageling, or the Millennial Mage, books 1 through 6. That's what they look like. They have new covers now. Vampire on the Orient Express, Mercenary of Imperia, Grilled Armageddon, Dinosaur Warlord. Most of these are Haremlit. The ones I'm pointing out. Highway Heroes, also Haremlit. Greatest Dragon Rider in the West. Blood Rights. A lot of these were also because there was a big indie sci-fi series thing where they were just giving out a bunch of books for free. The Ninth Reign, I don't think that's Haremlit or anything. That's just a generic, popular American sci-fantasy novel, I think. Minute Mage, that's Antheon, I think. The Dragon Thief, I think I bought the second book this time. Oathbreaker, more Conan stuff. I bought the Bran McMorn book. I shouldn't have because I don't know anything about that character, but it's too late to change my mind. David Weber book. Prentice Ash. Yeah, that's more or less everything. Most of these I just get for free because I have an email thing that, I just get sent books every day that are all free. Most of them are garbage, but I pick up the ones that interested me, and, that's why I end up getting so many friggin' books all the time. And then all the other ones are just whenever I see that they're kind of free, right? Grilled Armageddon is probably the one I'm most interested in because I don't know if you guys can notice that, but that's not a T-Rex. That's a bull with a T-Rex head. And I'm very excited about that because that kind of changes, Carnotaurus into a different vibe. So I'm very curious about that. But there you go. That's everything for the books. I have one final little thing here at the end. and then we will be done with the haul in general, right? So I will see you guys in one last clip, and then we can say goodbye. Okay, so the Kinokuniya that I went to also had a bunch of these Takia inks for sale. So I got all of these for $6. Here's a Takia Owl, or blue. I don't know what flower this is supposed to be. This looks like a blue bonnet, but there's no way that it's a blue bonnet. Because I don't think Japanese people know what that is, right? So I don't know what that is, but it looks good. I'm sure it's some sort of indigo flower or something, or, you know, something else. Here's chai. This is actually a reddish brown. It's quite beautiful looking. Actually, in my opinion, it looks great. It's supposed to be cha as in tea. Then we have suchi. Takia suchi. This is wheat, which is a yellow brown or kind of a golden color. And I love this color, actually. I think it looks very wonderful. Here's aka and ebi. So aka is red. It looks pretty orange here, but it's actually quite a standard red. I don't know why it looks so orange there, or kind of pink, but this is a very bright saturated red, as well as the blue. No, they're not necessarily my favorite colors, but the colors that I didn't really have in my collection. I have a lot of like odd colored blues, you know, blue grays, blue blacks, blue greens. I don't have a straight up just blue color, especially not one that looks like gel. Like this has like a very gel-like quality to it, even though they're water inks. And then ebi, I bought this exclusively because it reminds me of Colorverse Mars Attacks, which is a very specific type of maroon, red, purple color. And this is the closest thing I've ever seen to it that wasn't so dark that it was indistinguishable from like a black, right? So I'm very excited about that. However, ebi means shrimp, and that looks more like a lobster to me, but I think that's because this is supposed to be a prawn, or like a large shrimp, and I'm just not used to seeing that kind of animal, right? So when I think of shrimp, I think of like the little small ones that, you know, you see at like the store, right? You know, any crustacean that looks like that to me just is either a crawfish or a lobster, which are basically the same thing, right? So that's why I think it is the bad name, but it is what it is. Also, I thought ebi meant crab, but I guess it doesn't. I think it means shrimp. So yeah, there you go. Those are these 5 inks that I got. I'm going to use them next month in my journal, and I'm very excited about that. So yeah, there you go. That's the haul. There's a bunch of junk. Honestly, I'm getting to the point where I just have too much stuff, but it is what it is, right? So yeah, hopefully I'll have a smaller haul next month. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know what you guys bought down below this month, and thank you guys once again. See you guys later.